Trade and Finance from West Africa, joined by Mauritania, also met in Praia on the heels of the CET meeting to review other elements of the package for the EPA negotiations. Experts from the region had reviewed the areas of divergence between ECOWAS and the EU, which stalled the negotiations. The European Union is insisting that West Africa open its markets by 80% over 15 years, while the region has been offering 70% over 25 years. There have also been issues with the EPA development program, with West Africa insisting that the EU provide 6.5 billion euros new funding to ameliorate the challenges implementation of the EPA is likely to foster in the region, and Mauritania, which is a party to the negotiations. The EU is, however, offering already existing funding facilities under the European Development Fund, EDF, and other bilateral financial commitments to West African states. The Ministerial Monitoring Committee reviewed the new positions the experts had recommended for West Africa to get the negotiations back on stream. At the opening of the meeting, Cape Verde's Minister of External Relations, George Borges, warned of their consequences for West Africa's economy should the region concede to the European Union's request for 80% opening of its markets under the new partnership agreement. He said no country could develop without protecting its industries, warning that the region runs the risk of having its market taken over by European goods with the suggested opening of its market. The minister reiterated West Africa's position that the impending agreement should promote the region's socio-economic development agenda. Mr. Borges said West Africa must remain focused to ensure that the new trade regime helps to actualize its development objectives, including progressively integrating the region into the global economy, improving the competitiveness of the regional economy, and reducing poverty. President of the ECOWAS Commission, Ambassador Desiree Kadri Ouedraogo, reiterated that the EPA is to replace the previous trade arrangements that guided trade relations between West Africa and the European Union. He, however, noted that this trade agreement is different from the previous trade regimes in several respects, as the ongoing negotiations have enabled West Africa to emphasize its development priorities, adding that the EPA should not be seen solely as a trade issue, but as a development platform.
We have to take advantage of the EPA to attract external investment and external resources so that we can strengthen our economic enterprises so that they are able to sustain competitiveness with the outside world. So this is what we call the development dimension. And we believe that if we take care of all of that, the EPA will be a benefit of our region instead of being a threat of our economy.
The Ministerial Monitoring Committee deliberated extensively on the new proposals West Africa, joined by Mauritania, are considering to revive the EPA negotiations. They are to be subjected to further consultations and reviews in view of the consequences to national and regional economies. The prior engagements provided an opportunity for ECOWAS President Ambassador Kadri Desiree Ouedraogo to meet with the government of Cape Verde on his first official visit to the country. The ECOWAS Commission President visited and exchanged views with President Jorge Carlos Fonseca and Prime Minister José Maria Neves in their offices in Praia. Ambassador Ouedraogo hailed Cape Verde as a beacon for democracy and a model going by its series of transparent, free and fair elections. Briefing the media, the ECOWAS Commission President spoke on AFISMA operations in Mali, as well as efforts to sustain the culture of democracy in that country and the region. He also spoke on the engagements of ECOWAS to enhance the interest of the West African community.
Cette audience aussi a été l'occasion pour moi de présenter au Premier ministre les...
I will take the case of stability and security in our region. This is a key element in our strategy due to lack of development. There can be no development without stability and security. Also, as we said earlier, free movement and right of residence is an important element for integration in West Africa.
The ECOWAS Commission President, accompanied by 3 of the 7 commissioners of the institution and some directors, also met and exchanged views with the Ministry of External Relations led by the Minister, George Borges. He told him that the new management team is focusing on food security, institutional reform and capacity building, as well as human resources development to equip the region's teeming youth with the capacity to realize their full potential. The President told the Minister that his priorities also include the maintenance of regional peace and security, as well as the removal of the obstacles hindering the smooth implementation of the regional protocol on free movement of persons. Also on the priority list are the improvement of regional infrastructure, such as roads, energy, and addressing the challenges of the air transport sector. The ECOWAS Commission President visited ECOWAS institutions with headquarters in Praia. The West African Institute, WAI, on integration was set up by the region in Praia to undertake researches on integration, and Ambassador Wedrago challenged the staff to elevate the institute to a center of excellence. Another ECOWAS institution in Cape Verde is the 3-year-old ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, ECRI, established to help in addressing the twin issues of energy efficiency and renewable energy against the background of the energy challenge in West African region. Executive Director ECRI, Mr. Mahama Kapia, told the ECOWAS Commission President that about 52% of West Africa's over 300 million population lack access to electricity supply, despite the region's huge potentials in bioenergy, hydro, solar and wind power. Mr. Kapia said ECRI has launched various initiatives to address these challenges, which culminated in the adoption of 2 regional policies on renewable energy and energy efficiency by the 11th ECOWAS Energy Ministers in Accra, Ghana in October 2012 to guide the region's efforts to employ sustainable energy technologies. The ECRI Executive Director said that in order to achieve these objectives, 5 priority regional flagship energy efficiency initiatives were launched. These include phasing out inefficient incandescent bulbs by 2020, reduction in average losses in electricity distribution from the current level of 15 to 40% to the world standard level of 7% by 2020, and achieving universal access to safe, clean, affordable, efficient and sustainable cooking for the entire population of ECOWAS by 2030.
Then we have what we call rural renewable energy efficiency access program. So this is actually based on one of the action lines of the ECOWAS people on access to energy, which thought of co-funding small innovative projects. So what we did here is we made a call for projects. So anyone who has a small idea, this was an idea we floated and partners bought into it. You could bring 50,000 euros, we give you 50,000 euros, you implement this project. And when we did it, we got, actually the response was quite interesting. We got up to 166 responses. Nigeria alone came with 28, the second highest was Senegal with 24. Cape Verde attempted because we are based here. Yeah. They got to know so much of it. The most disappointing was Togo, because Togo was one of the first countries we launched it. We launched, the first launch was in Benin, and the following day we went to Togo. But Benin did very well, and Togo we had only 2 applications from Togo. Yes, and Liberia for some reason, I don't know what happened, they didn't do. But in all, we got 41 projects, and that we are supporting now. Implementation has started. The projects were coming from public and private sectors, and some of them have partners from Europe and other places. But apart from them, we also have what we call an investment pipeline, where we allow member states to come with the bigger projects, so practically they are lined up that way. And they really showing very much interest. Here, we get the projects, whatever small work we need to be done to clean up, to polish up the project, we polish it up and get it presented at this investment forum. The project promoters are there, the development are there, they discuss the projects. Some projects get picked up and they see how they can support them to go forward. Those that need extra work to be done, we still have the USAID that came out with the P fund, which is another fund to support project development. Then they prepare to improve these projects for the next investment.
Ambassador Wedrago praised